मंत्री जी यहाँ पे डॉक्टर चिल्लाते रह गए, डॉक्टर चिल्लाते रह गए, कोई डॉक्टर नहीं आया, कोई डॉक्टर नहीं आया, कोई डॉक्टर नहीं आया।
106 new cases in the last 24 hours. India has crossed 1 lakh coronavirus cases. India has crossed the grim milestone of 1 crore coronavirus cases.
A serious shortage of ICU beds in particular.
The state government in the national capital predicts that there will be over 5 lakh COVID cases in Delhi by the end of July and that there will be a need for 80,000 beds.
मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करता रहा, हाथ जोड़ता रहा कि आप एक बार देख लीजिए, उनकी सांस फूल रही है। उन्होंने उठने में 10 मिनट लगा दिए, देखते ही देखते सब कुछ खत्म।
इतने पढ़े लिखे डॉक्टर, इतने कामयाब डॉक्टर, वो भी डर रहे हैं। अगर वो इतना डरेंगे तो हम कहाँ जाएंगे। मैं ये चाहता हूँ जो मेरे साथ हुआ और किसी के साथ नहीं हो।
Greetings to everyone who is watching this video from Team Axios. We are a team of 3 developers from the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Lucknow. And this is our solution, Coviheal, a two-way platform between the donor and patient. So, we all are going through testing times and we are seeing what's happening. The healthcare sector is crippled. COVID has overtaken us. We have heard innumerous news of death. And many of us will have, listened to a word called blood plasma. So basically, there are components of our blood. One of them is plasma. And if a person has recovered from COVID, they can use their plasma they can basically donate their plasma to someone. And what happens is, because of the fact that they have antigens present and antibodies present, this plasma, when given to a infected patient, it helps them a lot. In the Indian scenario, it has been proven that plasma therapy is really effective. But what has happened is that there are 2 or 3 problems. One is awareness. Second is a lack of a central database. And third is lack of security, and scamming is happening a lot. So that is where our solution comes in. So as we all know about the National Digital Health Scheme launched by Shri Narendra Modi, one of the most central things in that is the central databasing of everyone. So you can register as a patient or you can register as a donor, but even if you can't do if you are not infected and you can't donate, you can always recommend someone who's a friend of yours. So let me just send in an email, and you can from love that. So thanks for recommending. What happens is that we have made this process very easy, and we can have volunteers onboarding to it. We have already collaborated with 3 NGOs. We have with 2 NGOs, and we have the support of IIIT Lucknow for the same. So you get a mail that you are invited to donate by Love Joshi. We kind of try to give that personal touch in the mail also. And what happens is that the process is very simple, and this enables already existing blood banks and hospitals to onload all their patients into this. So let me now sign in and show you how the technical part works. The front end, as you can see, is built on React.js, and we are using Redux for state management. So hi, here is now the patient registration form. I will not be filling it because I have already filled the form, and it will then generate an error. But what the main features are that you fill in your basic details, and when we are looking to deploy it, we'll always be trying to get into the Aadhaar API if possible, so to ensure security. But we have made sure that the user convenience and security are there. So it's a very basic form, you can easily fill it. And we have the PIN code. So what happens is that we take in your PIN code, and after that when we send in you the donors list, we sort them by distance, because in such hours of need you won't expect someone to be traveling 200 kilometers. And also another very important check to ensure that scamming is not happening is the medical report. So you submit in a report, it can be a PNG, JPEG or a PDF file, and what happens next is that we have an API which has a convolutional neural network model running, and what it does is it checks whether the patient name matches the name in the report, the dates are matching or not, and whether it's a positive or negative report, seeing in the terms of a patient or a donor, because when it's a patient you need a negative report which has a date somewhere around 2 weeks before, and similarly for the patient that he has recovered. But what can happen is that these days many people don't get tested, and many times the test results are not exact. So what will happen is that when you go to a find donor, so you can register yourself, but there will be this not verified tag. But again, the aim is also proper awareness, so you can always contact these people also, and that will not make that in any scenarios that the person was not legit, but it provides you that extra check. So again, if I see a verified user, I like to text him. So right now, because we don't have people using it, so we have only 2 users. So by using this button you can connect to them. So I have been added in the contact list, and I have Harshdeep in my contacts now. So I can click on Harshdeep and I sent him a text that, greetings sir, I need help. But we are talking about a web app solution, so how do we make sure that the user is logged in? Because again, you are talking about an emergency, so we have added that extra level of security. So what you can do is you can send in a notify button. So what happens is, using notify, so when we were talking about privacy, what happens on Twitter is that, for example, someone puts in a fake lead, and what will happen is that person will be getting 300, 500 calls. But what happens here is that you don't have their number, but using the Twilio API, we send the user a SMS that, hey Vinamra, a patient requires your help, do visit your Coviheal dashboard at coviheal.com. So the user can then go, and similarly then the donor will have to accept the request, and if donor accepts the request, you get a SMS too, and you will have your dashboard, and thus ensuring security. And this whole full chat application has been hosted on Firebase. You always have your data. And when I talk about the other, we have the other of the backend hosted on Node.js, and this is how our hack has been built. And when I talk about our mission and the future, so one of the mission was that the architecture should be really simple. So we followed a 3-click policy that within 3 click you can reach everywhere. So you just select the type of user. If you will be a donor, you will be going into accepted users or user requests. You can talk with accepted users, and you can, once after requesting user requests, you can start working. And similarly, when you go to list of donors, you can request more donors to accept your application or chat with donors who you have accepted. So we have a full scale chat application going on there, and the future plans for this are that we integrate it as a database. We contact hospitals to onboard their patients, and similarly onboard the patients who have recovered also. We have tied up with NGOs which will be helping. We'll be showing previous donors on this to make sure that people who come in have that extra bit of positivity when they see everything. And through this we intend to create a solution which can be scaled up, and because of the fact that we already have oxygen databases, we have databases especially for beds, we intend to merge them. But that is why we have made sure that when it comes to data onboarding, anyone as whole which have a whole data set talking about like blood banks or hospitals, they can easily shift to the platform. We are talking here about full security, full transparency also, while making sure that privacy of the users are not at concern. You can recommend donors, you can connect with donors, and we hope that people in such times are able to find a donor, and that people who are looking to save lives don't get affected by anything or don't get scammed, and at the end they're able to help someone. So that is it from Team Axios. Thank you.